to see Anthony Yarde back in action a couple of weekends ago. Got the victory over Ralph Vikens. Pushed. It was asked some questions, but he came through that. And that's the most important thing, to see Anthony Yarde active. I've been sort of having my own little Twitter rant about Anthony Yarde needs to be in the ring. Yarde needs to be in the ring, and it's good to see him back in the ring.
And he got a great start, and then he had a tough one. Yeah. It was an interesting fight, actually. I think he needs the big ones now, though.
That's all we want to see him in the big ones, and the man that knows all about that is his trainer, manager Tunde Ajayi. He joins us in studio now. Tunde, how are you, my man? Good?
Oh, fantastic. This is an honor. It's an honor, a pleasure to be sitting here with you, Ade, and let me just say, an even bigger pleasure to be sitting next to the maestro, the virtuoso, the teething, the toffering, Adam Smith, the legend of commentary, the man that I've been studying from day one. The reason why I'm so excited on The Fight Is Right with myself and Spencer Fearon is because I've studied this man for years. He doesn't know, but Adam, you've been a great inspiration to me and to many.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Tunde.
Yes,
I really appreciate that.
It's the voice as well, isn't it?
It's the voice.
You can't compete with
forget about all these new school and all this. It's like you need Adam saying he's teetering, he's stuttering, he's all over the place.
It's funny actually, because when you think of those big British boxing moments, it's Adam. Like when I think of the AJ one, I said this to you. Like when I remember, I think I said this to AJ actually. Lift off Wembley, Vladimir Klitschko. That line you used for AJ.
Yes.
Some of the big ones, Carl Froch against Lucien Boutte, you on comms. So it's good that Tunde gives you your props.
No, it's really nice. I just love fighters. I'm passionate, as you know, about this sport since I was a kid, and I just love being around sportsmen and women, and I'm just very, very lucky to have done that for a long time, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities I've had at Sky, and I still love it, whether they're 4-round fighters or English title or world champions or the greats like Mayweather. It's just an honour for me to watch and try and entertain as best as I can, because the fighters are the ones that do it in the ring. They're the ones that are brave enough to get in there, and I've been very, very fortunate, and thank you. I really appreciate what you said, Tunde.
Passion is something that cannot be hidden. There are a lot of people who pretend to enjoy something, but it's passion. Passion is felt. It's not words. You feel it. It is words, but you can feel passion when you're talking, and there are very few commentators today, yesterday, that can accentuate and deliver the sport of boxing the way you do, Adam. So you're my man. You're the guy.
Basically, we're saying, can you come back because we need you back?
That's
Can you get back because we kind of need your energy on commentary? Tunde, I want to go back, if we can, a few years, because there'll be a lot of people that maybe sort of dip their toes into boxing and don't understand the relationship between you and Anthony and how far it goes back.
Yes.
People might just see it now and think, Tunde's with Anthony, and they don't realise that you've had Anthony from the very, very, very beginning. And I do that because it's quite rare, because fighters leave trainers move on, everyone moves on, but you've had Anthony to the point where some people look at it as like a father-son relationship between the two of you. Although sometimes you guys joke a bit, so it's more a brother to brother sometimes.
Yes.
But father-son. Go back. When did you first spot Anthony, and how did this relationship come about?
I think I have to put on my Trevor McDonald glasses here.
Getting old.
Yeah, trust me. You know when the words start blurring, you have to draw for the glasses.
I've got something as well.
We're not trying to hide nothing around here. But I mean, listen, Anthony came about at a time when I had a packed gym. You know, going back as far as Kevin Mitchell and Harry Simons, the undefeated WBO two-weight world champion. You know, I was training these guys. At the end of his career, Harry always used to say, I wish I had you at the beginning of your career. But I was quite lucky, fortunate to be. I mean, I always tell people, Spencer Fearon, I used to train him at a time when he was at the end of his career. He was training with Adam Booth, David Hay, Danny Williams, and he had done repaying me the favour and putting me in a world title fight in Germany with Derek Chisora. And go look at the footage of Derek Chisora.
You were there for that one.
You see me in the corner. You actually see me.
Fight.
I remember. I can talk forever, but I remember in the hotel room with the late great Dean Powell. Derek Chisora summoned us to the hotel. Now this is a Thursday, and he said he called a meeting.
Yeah.
And Derek was like, yes, I've got something to say. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's go downstairs. You know, everyone's in the room, me, Francis Warren, Dean Powell, and Derek's like, there's gonna be a fight. And I'm like, ain't the fight on Saturday? You know, taking that philosophy into everything I do in life. For people who know me from day one, I ain't changed. I've only tried to ever improve. And I feel this is where myself and Anthony Yarde gel so much. You know, there's never been a blame game. And I was always like, from the start, anyone can ask you, so many fighters, you know, a young boy, Adam remembers me with Junior Benjamin, Otto Saba.
Yeah.
You know, I used to go around doing pad exhibitions when nobody was doing Floyd Mayweather, I
remember him going to the Mayweather gym in Vegas and doing
I remember me and Spencer going around with a bucket collecting coins, like leaving there. I remember we earned so much money from a Spencer Oliver and Don Charles charity boxing show. We bought Otto's mum a TV. That's how much money. This is how proud it was with the bucket money.
Wow.
And this is all love and passion. You know, we you know, I always say, and my dad has always taught me, the only thing money does is change the view outside your window. So I'm not running down money. I've never run down money. I love the sport of boxing, much like Adam and yourself and many others. It has never been, we're getting this amount of money. I'm just like, you reap what you sow. And that's very important for me. And it's what I live by.
I remember the images of you training in Peacock. You've almost made them famous, those images. I drove past Peacock the other day.
Yes.
And it's closing down. It's done pretty much. That must make you sad. When you see an institution like the Peacock Gym sort of close its doors, you're like, come on, what's going on with the early stages of boxing? Like, we all love the glitz and glamour, but the old school boxing. There's another one, Newham ABC, which is near my mum's house in Plaistow. It's not. I drove to my mum's. It's no longer there. It's flats. I'm like, wow, all these small gyms closing.
Well, first of all, Tony and Martin Bowers are two guys that gave me a home when I never had a home. So I'll be forever indebted and grateful to those two men. You know, because you got to remember how I come into this sport. I come into this sport from South London. I'm a roadman, or my dad always says, stop calling yourself a roadman, because my father's educated, but we were born in the inner cities, you know, South London, born in Brixton, growing up in Dulwich, lived in Peckham, still got my flat in Peckham. I'm just a local boy, and I came into boxing, and I'm like, yeah, this sport's easy. It's fighting, isn't it? Like, anyone could do fighting. I remember I came over to East London, and I remember early days, Joe Catchbow, another young kid who I used to train from a baby, who's become a trainer now. And as you said, it's so wonderful. It brings a smile to my face to know that these young men who came into the gym with nothing, just they wanted to box. You know, a lot of them, most of them, I can speak for someone who I've managed and trained. Anthony Yarde has done fantastic. He's a very private man. He loves his family. But I always tell him, and I could not earn a penny from the sport, but to see you be able to provide for your mother and your family, my dad, again, God bless him, givers gain. And I've always lived by that. So it really doesn't matter what people have to say about me. Negative. If it's negative, thank you very much. If it's positive, thank you very much. The only thing with the positive things, I look at it like, don't worry, I'm going to keep working. So I'm going to keep that positive vibe going. So I just, you know, Anthony Yarde and all these guys, you know, they were, again, our stories. Anthony, I remember when he used to come to the gym, jump on the train, and his mother bought him a car. And I remember he had the car, we had to put sellotape on the key. Anthony Yarde is not pulling up in a Astra with sellotape on the key today.
100%.
And that's hard work, that's dedication, that's focus. And even if Anthony Yarde was to stop today, that guy is a role model to so many people, including myself. I tell him, he's always like, Unks, you inspire me. And I'm like, Ant, you inspire me. And that's me and Ant's journey. And it's not everyone, I don't know if I'll ever have the same relationship with a fighter as I've had and having with Anthony Yarde. But one thing I could tell you, I don't treat nobody different. I love all these guys at whatever level they are. And I will work endlessly, tirelessly to make sure I'm there to help them achieve their dreams.
Tunde Ajayi in the studio with us here on talkSPORT. We are going to talk about the aforementioned Anthony Yarde when we come back, his last performance and what next. That's the most important thing. I wish we could have aired out what we were just speaking about there in the break, but private things shall stay private. Tunde is in studio with us. Tunde, let's jump straight into Anthony Yarde and that performance last time out against Ralph Wilkins. And the funny thing is, prior to that fight, not many people would have heard too much about Wilkins. All of a sudden now, I don't think many people are going to be booking him for fights because it was a bit of a problem. How do you look back at the fight, judge it, score it, grade it? How do you look at it?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, if you can, and Adam is a boxing man, and so are you. If you can go back in any professional fighter's career when they hadn't had a subpar performance, I'll give you any amount of money you want.
Yeah, you're lying. Yeah.
You're lying. It's just part of the sport. The thing is that I've always said, when we got into the changing rooms, everybody was saying, and Anthony was like, and Ade was like, I think it was this, I think it was that. And I was like, listen, everybody, first and foremost, we won. That's the main thing. We won. We have invaluable rounds under the belt now. And if you look at our two biggest fights prior, we had never gone into a contest with more than 3 rounds under our belt. So I'm always looking for the positives and not disregarding the quote-unquote negatives. For me, it was a good 10 rounds. There was a lot of ring rust. A lot of people are aware or are not aware of what was going on prior to the fight. We was given Ralph Wilkins on the Friday. We hadn't been preparing for Ralph Wilkins.
Sorry. On the Friday, and you fought on the Saturday?
No, the Friday before.
Week before.
Oh, okay.
So a week before.
Yeah.
And let's get the statistics right. Ralph Wilkins was just coming off a second round knockout of Isufu, who took Billy Joe Saunders the distance in a world title fight. So my confidence in Anthony was, there's no way, even a 10% AY, nobody can beat him because we're ready for the big fight. So I always look at the positives from the fight, and the positives I took from the fight was we got 10 rounds. Yes, I mean, listen, if Ant had gone in there and stopped him in the first 1 minute, what would we have heard? Another knockover job, a bum.
And it looked like he would. And you're right about a fighter who has an off night, an under par performance. We had Dillian White on earlier tonight, and he was talking about, very honestly, about the Tyson Fury night on the biggest stage of all and how he just didn't really turn up.
Yes.
It must be hard, though, for Anthony, knowing that we all want him to fight Joshua Buatsi. We all want him in the big fights, and he's got to go through with this. He's just got to deal with the guy that's in front of him. It's really a no-win situation.
Absolutely. But, listen, things happen for a reason. And maybe if Joshua Buatsi was to be the next fight, maybe it's giving him a bit of confidence. So maybe we can have the fight. The thing about...
Strange how it works,
it's
isn't it?
It's funny. That's why I say, the law of serendipity and just letting things happen the way they're supposed to happen. And this is why I emphasize that the most important thing on that particular night was the win. Sometimes it's about winning and then looking spectacular in your next fight. And I go back to Floyd Mayweather having probably the hardest fight of his career against Emmanuel Augustus in a 10-round slugfest, to the point where his father was saying, you've never seen Floyd with a busted nose and everything. But guess what? The very next fight, he put on the performance of his career against Diego Corrales.
Yeah.
So you're going to see the same thing.
Good knowledge, Tunde.
You're going to see the same thing.
This guy really knows the sport.
You're going to see the same thing. You're going to see AY put on the performance of his career in his next fight. Why? Because mentally, for the first time in his career, he's gone 10 rounds, not with a knockover job, a WBA ranked 15 fighter in the world who Anthony Yarde took on a week's notice and still managed to drop him in the first 10 seconds and give everybody...
value for money.
Not value for money. Everybody a preamble of what is about to become. What is about to become in his next fight.
What's coming in the next fight, Tunde?
We're ready. We're ready.
But where are we with it? Where are we with it?
Tunde, we know we're desperate for it. And I felt like we were close to getting it a few months ago. Or am I wrong? You tell us. Were we close to getting the Yarde-Boakye fight on?
Listen to me. Obviously, there are certain things I can't say,
Yeah.
and we have not spoken about.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, we had a one-fight deal, fantastic to box on the biggest platform on the planet, Sky Sports, and Anthony Yarde is a free agent, and we're ready, as we said way back in February, we are free to make the biggest fights. So whoever it is, Anthony Yarde himself, and I'm sure you've had people on this show before, big fighters who cannot really get up for anything other than the big fights.
Yeah.
Anthony Yarde is one of those guys. Because you got to remember, Anthony Yarde has, you've mentioned Boakye, but Anthony Yarde has been to the summit twice.
Looked good in the summit.
And
twice
looked good
as
in
well.
the summit.
Especially Kovalev.
The Kovalev walk.
His stock rose
Definitely.
both times, especially the Beterbiev fight. And you're talking about now, Anthony Yarde has lost to a 3-time Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year and an undisputed champion, and nearly had both of them out, or at least teetering and toffering in the 7th round with the Beterbiev fight and the 8th round with the Kovalev fight. So Anthony Yarde only wants big fights. And
we want that.
And we want that. And the public...
But is the Boakye the big fight, though?
It's one of the big fights.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. Again, I'm glad you've given me this platform, because AY against... Let's say, all right, let's go through some names now.
Bivol.
AY against Bivol is a massive fight.
Agreed.
AY against Beterbiev rematch is a massive fight. AY against Kovalev is a massive fight. AY against Callum Smith is a massive fight. AY against Joshua Boakye is a massive fight. I will be ringside November the 16th to watch Chris Billam-Smith against...
Oh, a jump to cruiserweight.
And we're ready. AY against Billam-Smith is another pay-per-view fight. So it's AY against anyone.
I'm loving this.
It's AY against anyone.
Come on, Tunde.
You can't tell me, you can't put any other fighter in the UK where you can match so many fighters and not call it a pay-per-view other than AY. So why are we running down A1? So you think because we've had one, in some people's eyes, not so good, that undervalues AY?
No, it doesn't.
Absolutely not. This guy has knocked out 24 of 26 opponents. And yes, you can say who were the opponents, but if it was so easy to knock out people in professional boxing, why has everybody not got a KO record that matches Anthony Yarde?
Okay.
That's a great couple of minutes there, that segment. Let's just snip it out and push it somewhere, maybe towards Turkey Al Sheikh or something.
Listen,
I love the jump
our
to
friend,
cruiserweight.
wait.
I love the jump to cruiserweight.
The cruiserweight is there. Our
Because-
friend Turkey Al Sheikh, I'm saying it here. I don't know what anyone's been telling you. I don't know what anyone's been feeding you. But we are a free team, able to sit down and talk with anybody. There is no one stopping anyone negotiate. Anthony Yarde is that guy ready to fight. And if you offer us Bivol on 3 weeks, we ain't taking it. So you can go and say we turned down Bivol. There is no elite fighter in the sport of boxing that will fight another elite fighter on 3 weeks' notice.
No, agreed.
Unless you just want a payday. And Anthony Yarde has always shown he's not here for a payday.
So we're saying proper notice. Any of those opponents that you've mentioned,
Anybody.
2025, Anthony Yarde is going to light up the sport.
He's ready. And you know what? It's like I always say, it's being prepared for the opportunity. And when that opportunity comes, you can't turn it down if you're a real fighter. And I want you to think about the people that want us to fight particular fighters and how many times they have been in positions where they had an opportunity to fight. Anthony Yarde had 12 amateur fights and he went to Chelyabinsk, Russia, to fight a 2-time Ring Magazine fighter. How can anyone dare question Anthony Yarde? It doesn't even... It's uncomprehendable, Adam. This young man who I have had the pleasure to navigate, choose fights, turn down fights, it's all right to talk. It's all right to have an opinion on him. That's what we want in the sport of boxing. That's what the fans want in the sport of boxing. But there can be no one that say that when they switch on that TV, Anthony Yarde, you don't get your popcorn, you don't get your big, you don't have that air of excitement that, yeah, something's going to go down.
After being ringside, and they're telling me to break, so I'll be very quick here. After being ringside and watching Beterbiev versus Bivol, and knowing that Yarde went in there with that monster, there is no one that can say Yarde is turning down any fights. I just won't accept it. I won't accept it. You can't get in with Beterbiev and turn down anyone. It's just not possible. I
love watching Anthony Yarde, and I'll forgive him the last performance.
You have to, Adam.
I'm gonna forgive him.
And I was told, my lawyer told me Adam Smith was saying that. And I was like, listen, Adam is one person that could I'll let that ride. And you know what? As I said, Adam, everyone is entitled
Absolutely.
to... These are professionals.
Do you know what? You said the right thing in the changing room. He got the W. He got
the W. And to just finish off that point, boxing is a mental sport. I've come into this sport and taught every young man, Adam Azim, O'Hara, Craig, Dan Aziz, all these guys that, Denzel Bentley, all these guys that phone me up and say, Unks, what do you think? Unks, what do you think? Guys that I've never spoke about. It's a mental game. And sometimes what the fans and the people can't see is what fighters have to go through mentally before even stepping into the ring. So there's actually a fight before the fight. And I feel Anthony Yarde, what Anthony Yarde has come through in the last 8 months, is actually incredible for him to be in that ring the other day and put on a performance as he did.
Tunde, honestly, I wish I could go on for another hour here, but time is against us. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much. We need to get to... Can we get him on again next week or something? Because there's more to this story. There's loads more that I want to talk about.
So good to hear from you, Tunde.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.